doing good. My family is good too, even though we're having a pandemic right now.
Personally, I'm doing good and my family as well.
When they declare the lockdown, there are shutdowns of business, which leads the country to the highest ever unemployment rate. With this action, my father got affected by this and lost his job. On the positive side, because of this pandemic, we were able to spend more time together than usual since the lockdown. We were able to make a strong bond while facing problems due to this pandemic. At first, it was hard to adjust not visiting my relatives since there is a GCQ, even though the consequences of it, even though they already allowed a maximum of 10 persons for a gathering in area who are currently in GCQ. We still don't want to risk, and since we have technology to use to connect with them, it's better than having no communication at all.
I am currently a grade 12 student from Jose Rizal University.
I am currently at grade 12.
I am a grade 12 UM student. With back pain. But seriously though, I can barely digest the lessons. According to Ramson's College, there are 4 different learning styles. Through visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading and writing. But I guess online schooling is not really my style.
Due to this pandemic, changes happened to the education system of the universities and school. As I can recall to what Mateo said, they offer different options to make education accessible to the new normal, but not every student decided to return school. This affects the sectors that they may not be able to give enough salary to the teachers who are teaching the students. There were also changes in the way they plan the lesson for the students and to make sure that it will not be hard to the students to cope up with.
Well, I guess there will be no such thing as social gatherings even though the pandemic will end. But hopefully, we will resume classes in our respective schools, but with extreme precautions and implementation of the different health protocols. I am a member of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
I belong to Roman Catholic.
I am a Roman Catholic.
Usually, my life before pandemic happened surrounds only at school, house, and church. I spent most of my time participating in our different church activities. Well, our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, has been always remindful that despite the pandemic, we should not lose our faith and our hope. Hence, we should have stronger faith and we should not neglect or forget our prayers because it is one of the greatest things that will help us in overcoming anxieties, depressions, and our problems. When the lockdown started, the instructions and reminders are being sent to us using different applications such as Telegram and INC Chat, which is an application that is exclusive for us members of INC. And our worship services are being held in our respective houses with our family. But lately, since the government decided to put Metro Manila in general community quarantine that allows religious gatherings to have the capacity of 50%, we've been doing our worship services in our chapels, but with extreme precautions and implementations of the health protocol. This pandemic brings a lot of pressure and anxiety, but with the help of the people that surrounds me, they at least help me to forget for a while the pressure of online classes and anxieties and boredom that this quarantine brings.
My mental health has been negatively affected during this pandemic, but I just do the usual. I sleep and eat my comfort foods.
Good. So far, I'm doing great in terms of my mental health. since I have friends whom I can talk with when I'm struggling with something. If there is a time that I feel like I can deal with things, I rest and entertain myself to prevent myself from thinking too much.
Based on an article in medicalnewstoday.com, a person who has good physical health is likely to have bodily functions at its peak. It is not only due to absence of disease, but regular exercise and healthy nutrition diet and good sleep all contributes to having a good health.
We are really experiencing a hard time dealing with this pandemic. Even though if we are staying at home, we should really take care of ourselves. One of the most important things that you need to do is to have self-care. Do not forget about yourself. Do what makes you happy. Meditate, relax, and have a quality time with your family.
According to a study by Jeremiah Joaquin, healthcare workers have been experiencing fatigue and depression, and they are not getting the right compensation and being underpaid. Also, there is an insufficient number of hospital beds and PPEs. So, I must say no. Healthcare services are not being given rightfully, since we are still in a scarcity of testing kits to conduct a mass testing.
Our economy is in its bad stage, and economic downturn is really visible because of a lot of businesses that are shutting down.
Right now, the Philippines is experiencing a big recession. According to one article from the Jakarta Post that I read, the gross domestic product shrunk 16.5% on year in the second year, as what the Philippine Statistic Authority said. I am really worried about the economic state of the Philippines, and the government should really do something about it.
Questionable allocation of funds, poor healthcare services, insufficiency of testing kits, trillions of debt, and irrelevant projects during the pandemic. So do I think that the national budget is being used wisely? No. According to a study, the Philippines was among Asia's fastest-growing economies before this pandemic happened and brought recession. And this greatly affects the people below poverty line. For instance, the rise of underemployment rate. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, underemployment rate is down 17.3%. In terms of count, 7.1 million people. And it has greatly risen compared to last year with a count of 5.8 million.